everybody. Welcome to the Crossroads of the West Council's Membership Recruitment Webinar. This is our second webinar, and I'm Paula Call, serving as the Vice President of Membership for the Council. Since our last recruitment webinar in July, our membership committee has been discussing what we can do next to help our districts follow up with their recruitment efforts. I wanted to read off the names of the wonderful committee members that serve with me. They are Linda Vaughn, Maddie Mayfield, Jacques Behar, Kendall Bundy, Maria Milligan, Daryl Alder, Mallory Anderson, and Betty Shaw. And the rest of our committee consists of district membership chairs. And 8 of these districts have their chairs already in place, and they've been meeting with us and have been working on their membership plans and goals. And if you don't know who they are, let me introduce them to you by names and districts. First, we have Mark Brown from Weber Rapids, Lynn Kirby, Thurston Peak, Alan Wyatt, Jim Bridger, Darwin Sorensen, Old Ephraim, Brad Harris, Timpanogos, Vaughn and Carla Horton, Wasatch Peaks, Dale Walker, Oker Mountain, and then just barely new, I think, Charlie Twist from Spanish Trails. So we have gained so much insight into each of the districts through these great individuals and appreciate their service and dedication. And we do listen to what they say because they always have important things to share. They are connection to the districts. We will be hearing from one of these membership chairs tonight, but first, I'd like to turn a little bit of time over to our council president, Russ Hunsaker. Russ.
Thank you, Paula, very much. And as you read through those names of individuals that are on your membership committee and the district membership chairs, many good friends that are there and many new friends as I get to know each and every one of you. So first of all, thank you very much for your willingness to serve and take on this responsibility to help us grow membership in the Crossroads of the West Council. I cannot think of a better place to serve in scouting than in this role in membership, to be able to bring additional youth to our program, to be benefited by what we have to offer, and for them to be able to have the principles and learning principles of lifetime ethical decisions throughout their lifetime. So one quick thing that I wanted to say thank you to this team, and in particular Paula Call. I do believe this is one of the best council, if not the best, council membership committees in the nation because of your dedication and the numbers of individuals that are participating. One point that I'd like to bring forward is one that I've been working with Paula and the committee on, the council committee on, is our 5-year strategic plan. And in that plan, we have looked to grow our membership and grow our membership significantly with the anticipation of getting to 20,000 scouts within our council. Now you may stop and think, that's a pretty high number, Russ. And it is, and we agree that it is. But as you break that number down and think about it a little bit, it is about 10% of where we were as a council on December 31st, 10%. We believe that we can recapture and bring those individuals that have worked with scouting in the past back and be involved with this once again. And if you look at this on a month-by-month basis as a council, that's about 208 new scouts or membership individuals each month, and about 4 new units every single month. And by district, about 22 members and about 1 new unit every other month. Very doable from our point of view, and we expect that you're not going to be alone in trying to work towards those goals and meeting those goals, because we as a council are going to support every one of your efforts to be able to make that happen. So Paula, thank you for inviting me tonight. Thank you for assembling such a spectacular team, and we appreciate all again for those who are part of this and are working with us to be able to strive to improve and increase the number of members in our council here in the Crossroads of the West. So thank you, Paula.
Hey, thanks, Russ. You know, Russ is one devoted person who supports the cause of the Boy Scout movement, probably more than anyone that I know personally. He has had so many years of diverse volunteer work, and we are so fortunate to have him as president of our council, especially at this time. Thanks, Russ. I appreciate that. When I was reading the names of our committee members, you know, we couldn't do it without our field directors who happen to be advisors. How lucky are we to have 3 advisors? And they are Terry Richardson, Jacob Bangeter, and John Mills. And they are behind the scenes on tonight's webinar, so we appreciate them, and a lot of thanks go out to them. As a membership committee, we do pay attention and support the events and the programs within the council. And we have one of these events coming up in November, and that is the Walk of Faith. Jacques Behar, who is a member of the committee, had work commitments and could not be here to announce this event, so I will. Anyway, this Walk of Faith is going to be virtual, obviously because of the COVID pandemic, and it will begin on Friday, November 6th at 7:30 p.m. with an interfaith Zoom meeting interspersed with patriotic songs played by a trombone quartet, and ending with the keynote speaker, Mr. Charles Dahlquist. Then on Saturday, November 7th, the virtual Walk of Faith will continue beginning at 8:30 a.m. The presenters will be able to talk for approximately 10 minutes about the first commandment and how it relates to their religion or scouting, whatever they wish to talk about. And then the balance of the 25 minutes will be available for question and answers. Then at 8:55 a.m., everyone will move to the second presenter, then the third, then the fourth, and so on, ending up at the Jewish synagogue, I believe, in Ogden, where they will talk about the 10th commandment as well as unroll the Torah Bible to where the 10 commandments of the 623 commandments are. And it's possible that they may read or chant the commandments in Hebrew. So that is yet unknown. I believe this event has been going on for 10 years now. It's for Cub Scouts, Scouts BSA, parents, leaders, religious leaders, everyone. And what a great way to learn about various religions throughout Utah and even parts of Wyoming. And I was so excited for this wonderful membership recruitment event. And this is my first time. So sign up. Hopefully all of you have this on your calendars. Sign up. There's a fee of $3.50 to cover a few costs plus the patch that will be sent to all participants. Great membership recruitment tool. So in July, when we had our first membership recruitment webinar, I introduced a woman who had more knowledge about the new member coordinator position than anyone that I knew. She's on the National New Member Coordinator Committee, and that was Maddie Mayfield. Well, she was out of town during that webinar and taped her presentation, but unfortunately the tape version didn't project well, so we put it up on the recruitment webpage for anyone to click on and view her PowerPoint presentation. So tonight she is with us, and we wanted to give her some time to teach us all we need to know about this important new member coordinator position. So Maddie.
You're muted, Maddie.
That makes sense. All right, there we go. All right, thanks, Paula. I appreciate it. Tonight I wanted to discuss the new member coordinator and your unit's welcome team and the new member coordinator position, and how you can use them with regards to recruitment and retention. You are the welcome. The new member coordinator and your welcome team are the unit's best friend. They create the climate of the group and really help families feel at home. So who is a new member coordinator? It's really anyone who understands the challenges of being new to scouting, who has a warm, friendly personality, who's enthusiastic about scouting and the unit, and who really cares about people and will follow through to help. The welcome team should play to their strengths. They should welcome people genuinely and enthusiastically, but also in the way that they would naturally do this. And they can use a variety of social networks to reach out to potential new members with enthusiasm and friendliness and a love of scouting. New families need simple and straightforward information. A lot of times there's jargon and information that they don't understand, and they need one point of contact for all of their questions. This person is the new member coordinator. The new member coordinator makes connections. They aren't on their own, and they don't have to have all the answers or know everything. They can find that information from other people in their unit and get that information back to a new member. And they rely on the leadership of their unit to help them with any questions. So they don't need to be a seasoned or longtime scouter. You know that welcome feeling. Your individual attention lets families know that they are heard and valued, and people naturally stay and are happy and contribute where they feel valued and appreciated. I know that that's probably true for all of us. We feel valued and appreciated in our scouting units, in our districts, and we like that, and we like to pass that on to new members. So what does a new member coordinator do? Their role is determined by the individual interests and the specific needs of the unit, but the new member coordinator has 3 basic jobs. First, they share the benefits of scouting. They use their personal networks to reach a wider audience, and they let everyone that they know the benefits of scouting, and they use that to help with the recruitment. As an example, my son was looking for a merit badge counselor for disabilities awareness and was having trouble finding one. Now, this was several years ago, but he asked me if I had a friend with a son who had a severe disability, and he asked if she might be willing. So he put together a little presentation for her and some information on being a merit badge counselor. And we went over to her home, and he talked to her about it. And she agreed to become registered and to take the merit badge counselor training and youth protection, register with the unit. And then she not only worked with him on that merit badge, but with the whole troop. After that, she was so moved, she decided to put her son in Cub Scouting, and within a year, she was the Cub Master of that pack. So sharing your personal experiences are very important. Second, coordinating recruitment. The unit needs new members to join and stay, and units need new families who feel a sense of belonging. They help organize and promote joining events and be sure all are invited. They collaborate with districts to ensure successful membership campaigns. They worked with the district membership team, and they start informally and create events and opportunities. If your unit is a troop, it's very important to create a feeder pack. This will help maintain the longevity of both the pack and the troop. Number 3, guide joining and engagement. Be sure every youth and family are warmly welcomed. They provide logistical assistance for registering and learning the ropes, and they develop relationships with families so they feel a sense of belonging. So your welcome team and the new member coordinators need to be identifiable. Perhaps you noticed that I look different. I'm in red. The red is very bright. It stands out. And it looks different from all of the uniforms that you're seeing. You can wear this logo with pride on an activity shirt, on a hat or a vest, or in some cases a pin on a field uniform. Items are available at scoutshop.org. The red shirt with the welcome logo stands out in a group of people wearing uniforms. It's welcoming and inviting and more casual than a uniform. Use one or all of these items to help you be successful. So at the recruitment event, encourage all youth and adults to greet newcomers warmly. Assemble a welcome packet. Assist families. Informal orientations before, during, or after a meeting. If the meeting is virtual, the chat function can be used. Communication is key. Not all families, communication is key. Never let a family feel ignored or unvalued. You want to follow up with them. Ask for their contact information for all parents or guardians, not just for what is given on the application. And explain which methods your unit uses to communicate with your members. Remember that not all families use the same types of communication, so stay flexible and have accommodations for different kinds of members. One-on-one recruitment is fantastic. Just talking to people one-on-one makes all the difference when it comes to recruitment. I tend to wear my Scout activity shirts a lot when I'm out and about, and twice in the last month, I've been stopped and asked about Scout. Once from a former Scoutmaster who misses Scouting, and I got him registered with our troop as a merit badge counselor. And another mom whose son misses Cub Scouting, and I gave her information to join a local pack. So when finding leaders, a personal invitation is far more valuable than a blanket ask. Have you ever been sitting in a meeting and the teacher or the leader says, who would like to do the following? And people squirm in their seats or they try to look away, and there's uncomfortable silence. Asking someone for help directly is much more successful, and it makes the volunteers feel more valuable. They're more likely to accept the job because they were asked personally. You can begin by asking them to help in a small capacity at an event or as a committee person. And then eventually you can ask them to become a registered leader. So create a list of jobs that need to be done and ask parents to take on a specific job. And as they find success in that job, they can move into different positions. And make sure to invite them personally. And the most important thing is always say thank you. Recognize your leaders, recognize your parents and volunteers. You can recognize them at a PAC meeting, a court of honor, or any time that they deserve a thank you. While other leaders are focusing on planning and program, the new member coordinator and the welcome team can shape their role. By sustaining strong membership in a unit, they can reach new audiences and invite them to join the unit and help them feel welcomed and want to stay. The role of the new member coordinator is to ensure that both keys to success take place. I want to thank all of you for what you do for Scouting. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your efforts. And thank you for all that you do. This PowerPoint will be available on the council recruitment page on utahscouts.org. So if you'd like to use this, you're more than welcome to download it and use it in your units and your districts. And if there are any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Maddie. Yeah, so such an important person to have to welcome new families into Scouting. And as she said, all of her PowerPoint presentation will be up on the membership recruitment page, and that's www.utahscouts.org. You know, you pointed out about the feeder packs into the troops. Now's the perfect time to get all these kids involved in their packs. So let's make that a goal this fall, throughout the remainder of this year. Let's focus on these kids, getting them involved in their packs. And a lot of you have your chartered organizations all set up, a lot of the units. If they could just look at what they can do to get kids involved and start up new packs so they can feed into their troops. So let's focus on that this fall. You know, sometimes all you need to do is say a name. And that name alone says it all. And that name, that is our next presenter, has left a legacy. His passion, knowledge, information, excitement about Scouts, and even a book to read along with it is pretty remarkable. And the name is Brad Harris. Brad has served professionally in many councils, is a teacher at BYU, and has written the Trails to Testimony, and is now serving as a volunteer in the Timpanogos district as a membership chair. So he has accepted an invitation to highlight a variety of things to help us with our recruitment efforts. And Leave No Stone Unturned is the topic for his presentation. So we'll turn the time over to Brad.
Thank you, Paula. I'm grateful to be here this evening. It's been an interesting 2 or 3 years in Scouting. I'm actually hopeful about the future, and I'm excited to see the organization and how quickly it has taken place. And I'm excited to put my uniform on tonight and and get back into scouting. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I just want to share with you some perspective from my experience. I want to start off with this graphic, and this is kind of a weird looking graphic, but it's just Utah is unique in the way that we've had scouting because of our demographics and the LDS church being involved. 95% of the members in scouting were in one organization. And I think of that as kind of a pipeline. We didn't have to really go out and find too many scouts. There was some of that, but they kind of came to us. They were dropped in our laps, and we spent all of our time developing a program, great camps and great program. Well, the picture on the right there shows, a rocky beach with a bunch of stones. That's the way the rest of the scouting councils have had to do this for years. No pipeline brought kids to them. They had to go find them. And so I just used the term, leave no stone unturned. Our new situation in Utah is going to be, each stone is a potential opportunity. You may find nothing there. You go to the next one. We're going to have to be persistent. We will find membership. We will find the gold. We will find the things that we're looking for underneath some of these stones. And I want to discuss some of those tonight. And then I just put this up tonight. It was fun putting this up. We need more Cub Scouts. Some of the most wonderful experiences of my life happened with Cub Scouts. Cub Scouts is the entry. It's the portal to scouting. Without Cub Scouts, we don't have scouts very long. We don't have venturing. And that's where our young people start. And traditionally, most of our scout troops are populated with boys who used to be Cub Scouts. So that's really what I'm going to emphasize tonight. I'll spend a little bit of time on Boy Scouts, but how do we recruit Cub Scouts in our current setting? There's lots of them out there. We are one of the fastest growing places in the country. We are one of the youngest states in the country. We have lots of children, lots of potential Cub Scouts. So here's just a quick look at my history. Right out of college, I worked in Corvallis, Oregon, which is where Oregon State University is. And I was a district executive, and I learned what the fall roundup was. And scouting was well established. In fact, in Corvallis, 70% of the available boys were Cub Scouts, which was very high. And most people knew what it was. It was easy to recruit, but we went to every school. We got every pack involved, and it was just common knowledge that every year, every pack had a well-organized fall roundup. Then I went down to Berkeley, California. That was a culture shock of sorts. The bigger area, the Bay Area of California, and I was in charge of the East Bay from Crockett down to Oakland. And scouting was not as well established, but I was in an area that had some urban challenges and family challenges. But we visited every school and every church. We had to describe what scouting was, but we tried to, we think of each school as a stone, or each church as a stone, or each opportunity. We were trying to uncover every stone to find the young men. And we knew that if we found, at this time, Cub Scouts, it would strengthen scouting for years to come. Then I went to Denver. Denver was one of the premier councils in America at the time, and I was grateful for that. They had a well-established program. And they had what I call the shotgun approach. They had all these scouting for fall roundup happen in one night. It was the third Thursday in September, and 150 schools were open in one night. And it was this almost like an election night. We had to report back at one place after all 150 schools with how many applications and how many people joined. That was an amazing experience. What I've learned in those 17 years is that we had a fall roundup and we had a spring roundup. Spring roundup didn't bring in as many kids, but we had day camp right around the corner, and it was easier to recruit kids about what they could do in the next 30 to 60 days. And every school that didn't have a pack, we tried to create a pack, because those were each of our potential stones where we could build, we called them service stations. Each unit was a service station we wanted to bring our Cub Scouts to. And then we had goals year round for sales calls on new unit prospects. Most of those were with churches. One thing that I came to recognize and appreciate, everything that, all the experiences I've had this in common. We had colorful flyers with individual stuff on the bottom. So I would walk through a school or through a cafeteria. with the Pack 14 held at the Methodist Church, 7 o'clock, bring your parents. And our job was to get these, at the time, it's all boys, excited. So they would go home and get their parents. And then 2 or 3 days later would be the school night. They would show up at the gym or the church, and then we would recruit and create dens and create the pack or strengthen the pack. So every elementary student saw one of these. What I like about the new setting is it was kind of awkward in the past when we didn't have girls potentials in Cub Scouts, and I would here be a classroom full of boys and girls, and I would hand these flyers to the boys and tell the girls that maybe Girl Scouts would come, and I always felt bad about that. Now we can hand them out to everybody, and every school should have a poster prominently placed, and then we put that specific information on the bottom. Schools are critical. Now we'll talk in a few minutes about potentially if we can't get to a school. That's where our potential customers are. The most productive thing we found was 2-minute classroom presentations with a pitch and a flyer in each classroom. Bring a Pinewood Derby car in uniform. It was a welcome break for many students or for many teachers. They sit in the back of the room and say, take as much time as you'd like, most of them would, because they wanted to get their kids excited. Productive was lunchroom presentations if we couldn't go into the classroom. Less productive, but still some benefit, was the recess. And then the least productive, but still somewhat good, was dropping flyers off at the office and then distributed by the teachers. But if we didn't have any flyers or no posters, nothing happened. Each school, we had the poster up about a week before the event in a prominent place at eye level to Cub Scouts and their parents, and then a flyer to each child 2 to 3 days before the recruiting night. In our current council situation, I recommend that you set a date. There's some faith involved here. You set a date and say on November 14th, we're going to have a recruiting night. I don't know how it's going to happen at this point, but it's going to happen on November 14th. We'll get a place, we'll recruit, and school would be nice, or other places, but we need to build relationships, long-term relationships with our school district leadership. We need to utilize our existing relationships. Parents and principals can get together, PTA to PTO. And I just put this up here this morning. Several times we were told, well, we can't go into the schools because the whole school district has said they're not allowed. That may have been true 10 years ago, it may still be true, but let each principal decide. The principal is the person that kind of runs the school, and it's pretty hard for a principal to say no to a parent. Can we just distribute the flyers in the classroom? Can we take 5 minutes in the gym, get all the boys together? That's the most effective, boys and girls, all the people or all the grades in one place for 5 minutes and back to the classroom. If we can't get into a specific school, I suggest we deliver flyers to people's doors around the neighborhood. Come on November 14th. Put posters in public places. Of course, use social media, phone calls, distribute flyers if they'll let you outside a grocery store or something. Boys wear their uniforms. If it's an existing pack, it's a school and recruiting day. They're walking recruiters. And then, of course, word of mouth. At the actual recruiting night, and I've probably been to 400 of these in my life, you have them sit by grade. You have something exciting for the kids, the young people to do. Information for the adults. I always had a whiteboard or a chalkboard. I put down the positions, those that were filled and those that were not filled. And then we would have each place where they were sitting, that became their den. And they helped recruit the den leader. And of course, there was some pressure here. Parents would come thinking that a pack was already organized, and they find out that it was partially organized, but we need to find den leaders for these 20 new Cub Scouts. And those nights, we would take the checks, we would pay for registration, and we would promise them within a week, we would have what we call kitchen table training, where we would bring, many times it was me and a volunteer, to the place where the new leaders had just said yes within a week, and give them kind of a quick, fast start training about what they're supposed to do. And then they would go to formal training later. I just saw this 2 days ago. This is exciting. This is a list. You could have one of these sheets of paper for each school. If you had 20 schools in your town, you should have one of these for each school. You put the name of the principal and the secretary. The secretary is very important. Sometimes you can't even get to the principal unless the secretary says so. And then there's a whole list here at the bottom of rocks to uncover and questions to ask. I love the discipline that this shows with each school. And each school should be like an account. And we want to maximize that account to recruit as many young people as possible from each school. In my experience for Boy Scouts is that recruiting in schools was not very effective. It was difficult in junior highs or sixth grades and so on. But many troops held recruiting nights, and they would do word of mouth, or they would have an event, a hike, or some big dinner or something to invite parents to. But most of the Boy Scouts came from Webelos' dens. So we had, in Denver, we had a very aggressive program of Webelos to Scout transition. And every Boy Scout troop connected with Webelos' dens. And it was kind of like the minor league players coming up to the major leagues. And they would recruit the whole den many times with the den leader who would become an assistant scoutmaster. So that recruitment should continue with Boy Scouts. So, leave no stone unturned. This looks like Goblin Valley. This looks like a rock that we don't need. It's going to be very difficult. We're going to have some challenges, but that rock could be moved if we had a whole bunch of people. We're going to need more volunteers. I challenge you to look outside of where we are. Every person of Cub Scout age walking down the street is a potential Cub Scout. Every school is a potential pack. Every church is a potential pack. And we need to recruit Cub Scouts this fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Oh my goodness, a lot of wonderful information. Love all of our presenters, what they have presented tonight. And, you know, there are flyers that are available to order from the council. They are already there, like, I think 20,000, I think is the number I got from Jake. And if you get on the membership recruitment webpage, you can place an order. And remember, that's at www.utahscouts.org. A lot of great information here. Thank you. And yes, we are alive and well. Just as Russ Hunsaker said at the beginning, our numbers are growing. And we have a great goal to achieve the numbers that we want here at the end of the year and in 2 years and in 5 years. So let's be creative in our recruiting efforts and going and finding these new members. So especially now when things are shut down, if we can't get into schools, if schools have closed and gone online, you know, it's going to be a challenge, but we can be creative and we can do anything that we possibly can online. And we've got something actually pretty fun. When Brad had set a date, we did set a date. And we are going to actually talk about it a little bit tonight. We've got Saturday, October 24th lined up for a council family fun fest, and it's going to be a council-wide recruitment night. And actually, I shouldn't say night, it's in the afternoon. So it's Saturday afternoon between 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock noon. And we're still working out the details for this event and making sure that what's planned will be safe for everyone. So the district executives and membership chairs are trying to locate parks in their districts to hold fun recruiting activities. And yes, we are very aware of some of the areas that are in the orange COVID status and may not be able to hold this event like in other areas. But we will look into doing a hybrid family fun fest of some sorts from a location, maybe at a park that we can broadcast from, so others can join in from their backyards or any other safe place. So I don't know, we're still in the works through all this, but I do know one district who already has lined up a park and has some fun activities planned, such as rocket launching. Anyway, hoping there will be some fun campfire skits. This is a way we can show our communities that, yeah, we are alive and well, and maybe get the news media there to tape it as well. So a lot of great things coming up. So I'm hoping that you take all this information to your districts and units and share. Sharing is so important when it comes to membership recruiting. And I'd like to invite everyone who is on this webinar that as you plan all of your activities, please keep in mind that if you are to increase the membership numbers, you must invite. So invite, invite, invite in everything that you plan in all of your activities. So I'm hoping that you take this and take it down to your districts, your units, and start inviting everybody that you possibly invite. So are there any questions? I'm trying to look through a few questions that have been asked.
There are a couple of Paul. There are a couple.
Yeah,
Can
thanks,
I read them off?
John.
So we have one from Jamie out. So he asks the question, Jamie Neal, can we get into schools now? I thought Alpine School District wouldn't let us recruit at schools.
I told you that would come up. Yeah. Go to your individual school. Your individual school. They may say no, but don't assume that they're all going to say no.
And I'll add to that I think it's up to the principal, and if the principal and the PTA president. So if you know or have a relationship with either the principal or the PTA president, have a conversation, and they'll be able to make a decision and help you to be able to engage in the manner that they feel is most appropriate.
Earlier today, I spoke with a person who is a retired school superintendent. He said the exact same thing. Don't go to the school district, go to individual principals.
Very well said. We have one other question, Paula, as well.
Okay.
This one is from Mark Makowitz, and he asks about the former scouts from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. How can we reach them as prospective scouts in the community-sponsored troops? There has got to be, he feels that there has got to be many of the former scouts from the church that must still be interested in some way in scouting.
And we did send out a survey, actually, just a month and a half ago. We didn't get a huge response. We're kind of disappointed, but we know that they're out there. We would like to get them as soon as possible, because you're aware that, you know, when time goes on, you lose interest. So, you know, that's going to be a challenge. We don't want them to forget about it. We don't want to, especially those that have been interested in remaining a part of the scouting program and volunteering and becoming leaders. And maybe some of them are just waiting and wondering what they can do. So it is going to be a challenge trying to find them. But just as Maddie had talked about, even just wearing a shirt kind of sparks an interest in people and saying, hey, you know, how can I get involved? I mean, who do I need to talk to? So I don't know. There's just different ways, and you have to be creative in ways that you can reach out. But you can even talk throughout the neighborhood. It's kind of nice to know if you've got somebody in your neighborhood that is a member of the church that is very involved with scouting, if they like to advertise with posters or yard signs or whatever. It's kind of nice for other people to maybe come to them and say, you know, I really would like to volunteer, and hopefully it leaves them comfortable in coming to you and talking to you, and hoping that you can recruit them. So I don't know if anybody else has any ideas on that.
I have one thought, Paula. What I would suggest is that we at this point just reach out to everyone within our communities, because that will include our Latter-day Saint youth. And if we just canvass all of our communities going through schools or whatever kinds of marketing we can use, we will reach them. And if they are interested, they'll come forward. To me, that's the best way. As this Annalise Smith here recommends that bring a friend is, and I would agree, Annalise, that is one of the best ways.
John, I'll reinforce your message, John, that it can be a one-on-one ask. The one-on-one ask is always the best and the most successful opportunity. Is if you know somebody that used to be in scouting, And you, all you have to do is say, come join me at a troop meeting, and bring that friend, and they're back. It's truly that simple. I know there was a comment about yard signs. The council has yard signs. If you have a desire for yard signs, the question is, how many yard signs do you want? Not do we have them, but how many do you want to be able to put up? And as you put those yard signs up in throughout the neighborhood or in your yard, then people will be able to have the opportunity to say, you're still in scouting? Tell me more. How do I get engaged? And then you'll be able to participate in that conversation and recruit them.
Yeah, a lot of them don't know where to turn because they've always been used to using church for their units. So if someone's available to answer their questions, then they'll get the information.
I misread a little bit what Annalise read here or wrote here about the Bring a Friend. She suggests that each pack or troop host a specific Bring a Friend night.
Right. Good suggestion, Annalise. I know that there was a question at the beginning about where we can get a list of packs in our area. And so a few people have chimed in saying one easy way to find other units near you is to use beascout.org, call the council office in Ogden during the business hours, then they can help you.
For Patch Henderson, who asked that question, I have already privately sent that that to his team member so that they can reach out to him.
And don't forget to talk to your district executive or district membership chair. And also don't forget about social media. Many of our communities have community Facebook pages, and it's a great way to advertise. Also, popcorn sales going on right now. I've had some packs and troops that are recruiting several kids and families and bringing them back into scouting just by selling popcorn.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Someone asked about where do you get the flyers. The council has the flyers in bulk, or you can download them and print them yourself. But if you want the colorful flyers, you can get them from the council office, correct?
That's correct. And is it just for the Cub Scout flyers, or are there Boy Scout flyers? And that's a good question. Or actually yard signs.
Currently, the yard signs we have are all Cub Scout related. And most of the flyers we have are Cub Scout related. We also have ones that are boy and girl. And we do have Scouts BSA flyers on order, and I believe they're on back order right now.
So just wanted to let everybody know there are quite a few council events coming up that you will hear about soon. I shouldn't say quite a bit, but these are going to be big events. And I've heard about a Cub Scout swim event coming up in February, a Pinewood Derby in April, and then in next October, the Haunted Woods at Mapledale. Sounds pretty fun. There's also day camps. So keep in mind these day camps that are available at Tracy, Camp 5, and Kiesel and Mapledale. And there's also traveling day camps that are coming to you, which is actually pretty neat that they are doing that. And they'll actually be in Hurricane, Richfield, Roosevelt, and Eagle Mountain. Those are great opportunities to recruit those Cub Scouts. There's also another item I wanted to mention, and there will be a unit roadmap or a unit guide from National that is being published and will be available next month. And we're anxiously waiting for this, and we'll let everyone know about it when it does come out. So also our next webinar, probably at the first of next year, if we decide not to hold one before the holidays, we would like to address Weeblos transitioning into troops, which is going to be very important, especially now. If you have anything that you would like some information on or training for our next webinar, please let one of us know, or your district executives, or better yet, your membership chairs. You know, we are here for you. We are a great resource. We want to help in any way that we can. And we do know your challenges, and we want to help you as much as possible. So we are also aware of your successes, and we love hearing about all the wonderful things that you're doing, especially during these challenging times. And we want to keep up. We want you to keep doing what you're doing, and keep scouting on. And we do appreciate what you all do. We do appreciate all of you. And if there are no other questions, then thank you, each and every one of you, for turning in and tuning into this webinar, and wanted to wish all of you happy scouting. Scout on, everybody, and good night. Appreciate all of you. Thank you.